Today on What's Next.
It's just individuals who always make a difference. Everything that happens, good or bad, starts with somebody doing something.
You will not ever hear me say, because I'm blind, I can't do it. I can do anything that I put my heart to doing.
If everybody just took up a cause, the world would just be a lot better place.
Hello and welcome back to Growing Boulder's What's Next. I'm Mark Middleton, excited as always to share more stories of passion and purpose. And today's theme is decidedly aquatic. We're going to meet a woman who is celebrating the power of our combined voices to save precious marine life. We'll meet a guy who is harnessing intergenerational volunteer power to clean millions of pounds of trash from our rivers. And we'll say hello to an unlikely star of the National Senior Games, a blind swimmer with a powerful message for all of us. But first, three voices that strive to make a difference each and every day. Say hello to Team GB's starting lineup: Cecily Wilson, Amy Sweezy, and Bill Schaefer. And guys, as you know, we are blessed with the opportunity to meet some really special people on a regular basis. But Bill, I know your recent chat with Dr. Sylvia Earle was really a standout highlight for you.
Man, Mark, Sylvia was amazing, and for a couple of big reasons. One, I mean, the woman really is a hero. And two, except for this program, you've probably never heard of her. So here's why you want to. Sylvia Earle revolutionized the diving world. She's one of the most important marine scientists ever, the first female chief scientist of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and she inspired an incredible group that protects the environment called Ocean Elders. Oh, and a couple of accolades for her, too. She's the first person Time magazine ever named as a hero for the planet, and the Library of Congress named her as a living legend. That's pretty big stuff. But as she tells us, all of that notoriety starts with one person trying to do the right thing, and she says you can do it too.
Well, it's Margaret Mead said long ago that it's just individuals who always make a difference. Everything that happens, good or bad, starts with somebody doing something that has an impact around them. Or sometimes it's not doing something that either right or wrong that can make a difference. We could, if we wanted to, if we really felt that it was important, we could kill every last tuna. We could find them, capture them, market them, eat them, and they'd be gone. We almost did it with whales. But somewhere along the line, individuals who saw whales differently could see them as individuals, see them as families, see them as fellow creatures on this miraculous blue planet, and began to use their voice, and then collectively came together. So that in 1986, there was a powerful collection of voices, individuals coming together, so that there is not commercial whaling anymore. Maybe you've heard of the film My Octopus Teacher. This guy in South Africa who just jumps in that cold water every day, armed with his mind and a camera, and began documenting the behavior of one single animal, an octopus. And now, with an Oscar-winning film, has begun to change the way people think about not just octopus, but maybe themselves and the relationship to nature. Craig Foster, there's a hero, an individual, using his power, using his insight, and then sharing it with the world. It's one thing to have these great experiences, but if you just keep it to yourself, it doesn't have the impact. You're not making the difference that you could if you bring others along to be able to see what you see and at least vicariously experience what you're experiencing, and then say why it matters.
Man, Bill, she is a great example of being powered by passion. And folks, let's not lose sight of the fact that she is 86 years old, still using her voice to make a difference, still encouraging us to use ours. And, you know, I did see and I loved my octopus teacher, but I mean, let's face it, folks, we're not going to dive into cold waters without a wetsuit, without an oxygen tank every day for a year to get to know an octopus. So I guess the question, Bill, is what can we learn from Dr. Earle? How can we make a difference?
You know what stuck out to me, Mark? We teed her up. You and I teed her up, brought her on this program as the hero that she is, asking her about how you do it. She never ever said the word I or me, because to people like her, it's not an ego thing. It's not about her. They're just people that are driven to want to make a difference, that want to help. And to me, it's just understanding that she's not doing it to be a hero. She's doing it to make a difference. And I think there's a piece of that inside all of us if we can just get over the hesitancy and fear, or the belief that, yeah, one person can do big, big things.
And I also think, too, that sometimes when we look at the big picture, it can be so overwhelming. And you forget that I am just one person, so what can I do just in small bites? So if you just break it up into little tiny things. Last weekend, my parents went for a walk in their neighborhood, and they took my youngest daughter on a trash walk. And they just walked around the neighborhood and picked up trash along the side of the street. So it's little things that one person can make a difference.
Yeah. Here's a question that I always ask. What difference does a difference make? And it's everything. So one thing can truly make the big difference. And that's exactly what she said. If you keep it all to yourself, then you're not making a difference. If you just do one thing, it could lead to something else. And I just love how she just creatively and impactfully made that difference just one step at a time. Because it's always taking that first step that makes that difference.
And I think we do get our energy from our passion. I think we find our voice in our passion. Then we find others with the same passion. Then we put the voices together, and then we have our Margaret Mead moment.
You will not ever hear me say, because I'm blind, I can't do it.
Well, welcome back to What's Next. As you've seen here over the weeks and months on this program, there are a lot of ways to illustrate what it really means to take charge of your own life, to defy the expectations of aging. But one of the most effective ways to really see it is through athletics. And did we ever see it at this incredible event called the National Senior Games? They had something like 12,000 people between the ages of 50 and 103 competing in over 22 sports. And then out of all who competed, there was one who really stood out, especially for us, and you might recognize him. Take a look at this. This is, Mark Middleton, the same guy that hosts this program, in the pool on his way to 4 gold medals and setting 2 National Senior Games records. And he did it all in the middle of covering and hosting our daily live coverage on location in Fort Lauderdale. And man, did we bring you some pretty inspiring people in addition to Mark. Folks, I don't know if your boss inspires you that way, but we're awfully lucky here at Growing Bolder to have Mark Middleton, who doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk as well. Amy, it means a lot to all of us. Amy, what does that mean to you?
You know what? It's so cool, Mark. You put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. You know, it would be so easy for you just to kick back and tell stories about all these other people doing things, but you're telling stories and you're also doing it yourself. You're pushing yourself harder and breaking records while you do it. So I find that personally very inspirational. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like my kids say, he's in total beast mode, because he has dominated that event. I'm so proud to be sharing this screen with you today at any time that we can. So congratulations to you for setting an example.
Well, thank you all. You guys are very, very kind. And please allow me to say that I had nothing to do with putting the rundown for this program together. You know, honestly, all I did was swim up and down the pool. You know, I kicked a little bit. I moved my arms around.
I can't do that.
Well, but what you do, Cecily, what Amy does, what Bill does on a daily basis, truly is far more profound than that. And I think that's the message, folks. You really don't have to set a record to inspire somebody else. A kind word, a helping hand, an ear that listens, a shoulder to lean on. Those are powerful tools that we all possess, and ultimately, I think are far more important. All of that to say, we met many swimmers at the National Senior Games. Everyone has a story worth telling, most of them far more important than the one that you just saw. But one that really stood out for me, guys, was Vivian Stancil. In truth, Vivian's not a great swimmer. In fact, she's really not a good swimmer. But the fact that she swims at all is really remarkable, because Vivian is totally blind. She was raised in foster homes. She was divorced and living on welfare with 2 children by the time she was 20. When she was 50, she weighed 319 pounds. Her doctors told her she would never make it to 60 if she didn't lose weight. She was terrified of the water. She had literally never been in a swimming pool her entire life, but she joined a Learn to Swim program, and today at 75 years old, she is one of the most inspirational swimmers on any pool deck.
I will not ever give up. I'm not a give up person. I talked to a lady in New Mexico. She said, I wish. I said, don't talk to me about I wish. Do it. Get in there and do it. And that's what I say to all. You don't have to swim, but you need to move.
What you do, your example, Vivian, is obviously bigger than swimming. It transcends anything. What is your message? What's the moral of the Vivian Stancil story?
I believe the moral of the Vivian Stancil story, how Vivian touched many lives by people witnessing what Vivian is doing. And you will not ever hear me say, poor Vivian. You will not ever hear me say, because I'm blind, I can't do it. I can do anything that I put my heart to doing.
Boy, easy to see what makes her so inspiring. That woman right there, as Mark was telling us, for years was afraid to even get in the water, was terribly overweight, and who was totally blind. How does that person turn out to be one of the most inspiring people out there? Mark, what was it about her, being around her as much as you were, that makes her message get through to people and allows her to be so honest and open with everybody?
You know, Bill, I think you hit it in the first sentence that you said. They can see it. I mean, they can see her struggle. They can see that she needs help to get up to the edge of the pool to dive in. They can see that she needs help to get out of the pool. They can see that she struggles mightily, stroke after stroke after stroke. And yet when she's done, she's got a smile from ear to ear. You know, everything about her screams to everyone that is watching, I have no excuses. And I think that's it. When you see her do her thing, you realize that you don't have any excuses to do your thing. Folks, we've got many more stories just like Vivian's coming your way on a special 60-minute nationally televised show, Growing Bolder, at the 2022 National Senior Games. Just go to growingbolder.com/NSGA, that's National Senior Games Association, to find out where you can watch this special in your hometown. Plus, you can check out all of our daily wrap-up shows from Fort Lauderdale and the individual stories that we did each and every day.
Well, welcome back to What's Next. Today, it's the power of the individual, of you and me, to make a difference. Here's another really amazing story. It's about a guy who grew up on a river, and he watched it get more and more polluted and disgusting by the day. And at the age of 17, he created a volunteer group to fight back. It's called Living Lands and Waters. But what difference can a kid make? Well, this guy's name is Chad Pregracke, and that was 30 years ago. Since then, check out what they've done. Some of these stats: they pulled out 10.5 million pounds of garbage. They organized over 1,000 river cleanups in 21 different states, and he's held over 400 educational events and welcomed 12,500 educators and students on board their river cleaning barge. And all of this started out because one guy actually believed he could do something about it. And he believes that we can do it too.
I wish more people did know that they can make a difference, and it's part of the message that I like to convey through my work to clean up rivers. And I certainly don't do it alone. I've had the help of a lot of people. Like, I've worked side by side with 118,000 volunteers, and I have wonderful staff of people that are just as equally dedicated. But I did start it out, and that's one thing I've learned, that each and every one of us can make a big difference.
It's amazing what you've done. I mean, one of the things, Chad, I think that you come across as a fairly young guy, and I'm wondering if the volunteers or the people that you work with, many in our audience are people who are 50, 60, 70 and over,
Yeah.
who are really looking to make a difference. What have you found about the older volunteer or somebody who's in that stage of their life?
Our volunteers are from 9 to 90, and that's not an exaggeration. It's a wide spectrum. But with the older volunteers, I see a lot of gung-ho people that want to stay like youthful, and what we do is fairly physical. And I see a lot of passion, it seems like, I would say. Yeah, and people go out of their way to come help and be part of something bigger than themselves. And I can't encourage enough people to just, focus in on a passion and use your skill set. It doesn't just take money. You can use your skill set to make a big difference. And if everybody just took up a cause, whatever that cause is, the world would just be a lot better place. There's no question.
Well, that's Chad Pregracke. Had a great time talking with him. And doesn't it really make you wonder how much good we could do if we all did take up a cause that we felt was important to us? Cecily, that's something that all of us think about. Most of us just never seem to find time to do it. You're someone who has done it. You like to get involved. You've kind of made it a way of life for yourself. How do you do it? How do you start? And how does it affect the what's next in all our lives?
Well, I love what Chad said, making the last part of your life the best of your life. And whether it's 9 to 90, every single one of us can do something. And I found that out. It doesn't always take money, as he said. It can be with a smile. It can be with the work of your hands. It could be with your voice, whatever that is. If it's something that you feel passionate about, any little step towards making a difference in that passion area will truly make a difference overall.
Welcome back to What's Next. Time now for your take. We're so inspired by the Growing Boulder tribe and all of our followers. So each and every week on our Facebook page, we put out a question to get your perspective, and then we share it right here on this show. And this week we ask, what's one thing that you do to help our planet? Francesca Ann said she made the decision to not own a car, while John says he tries to ride his bicycle whenever I can. Pauline Birch says, I've been a vegetarian for over 50 years. And finally, Janet replied, we pick up garbage along the streets and walking paths in our city almost every day. Amy, it sounds like something that your relatives do. How about you?
Yes, actually, I mentioned this earlier in the show that my parents have always gone on trash walks wherever they live, and they take us out. And whenever we're together, after we've had a big meal, we just go on a trash walk. So pick up stuff and take it to the recycling.
Man, that's pretty cool. I'm a little embarrassed to say I don't think I do any one particular thing. Maybe it's just try to be conscious, try to be aware, try to make sure I recycle, I feed the birds and do the little things. Probably not enough, but at least being aware, I hope, is a beginning.
Yeah, it certainly is a beginning. I know that I do recycle my plastic bottles, but something that's a little more important to me is my clothing. So I've gotten into the world of thrifting so that the disposable clothing that we throw away ends up in the trash dump. It's in my closet. So I just think recycling my clothing kind of helps a lot as well.
Yeah, it really doesn't take much. I think we all get trapped thinking that, we got to start an organization, we got to write a book, we got to start a podcast, something really big. But, I think what we can all do is, number one, we can be informed. We don't want to go around shooting our mouths off without doing some research, being informed. And then once we are informed, then we use our voice, we volunteer, and if we're able, we donate. It's really not that hard. We all can make a difference. And, finally, folks, consider this. Earth is about 4.5 billion billion years old. Modern man has been here for about 300,000 years. And for all of that time, up to now, up to this moment, the planet as a whole has been mostly hospitable. It doesn't mean life was easy, but we didn't have mega floods, we didn't have mega fires, we didn't have mega storms, but the planet is transforming now. Some say we are entering the age of extinction. In fact, the World Wildlife Federation says we are the first generation to know that we're destroying the world, and we could be the last that can do anything about it. And while we're all trying to figure out what's next for all of us, let's not forget that what's next for the planet is up to all of us. We'll see you next time.